Hey everyone, and welcome to Human Growth and Development 201. So glad you're here. Think of this as your personal survival guide for week 1. We're going to break down everything you need to know so you can totally hit the ground running and start this course off on the right foot.
So here's a quick look at our roadmap. First, we'll dive into the big ideas for the week. We're talking holistic health, communication, and culture. Then we'll finish up with a super clear checklist of everything you need to get done. Simple, right?
Okay, let's get right into it. First up, we're looking at your foundational topics for the week. This week is really built around 4 core concepts. You've got healthy lifestyles, communication, culture, and the family. Think of these as the building blocks for, well, pretty much the entire course. Everything we do later is going to build on these ideas. All right, moving on. Now let's talk about thinking holistically. This isn't just a topic for this week, it's a core philosophy of the entire course. It's really about looking at more than just the symptoms. So, what is holistic health, really? Well, it's this idea that real health comes from maximizing all the forces that impact a person's well-being, both the internal stuff and the external stuff. It's all about seeing the whole person, not just a list of symptoms. And here's what we mean by those forces. You've got your internal forces, right? Things like your physical health, your mental state, even your genetics. But, and this is key, the external forces are just as important. We're talking about culture, community, family, and your environment. All of it matters. I love this wellness wheel because it just illustrates this idea perfectly. You can see how all these different dimensions of life, emotional, social, environmental, they're all connected. You can't just focus on one slice of the pie, right? True well-being means all these parts are working together. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about communication. But not just any communication. We're talking about your single most powerful clinical tool. Seriously, this is a game changer.
It's so important to get the difference between therapeutic communication and just, social chatting. Talking with a friend is a two-way street, right? It's for pleasure. But therapeutic communication, that's totally different. It is 100% patient-centered and goal-directed. It takes real emotional presence.
And to make this easier, you've got the Tadgich model. It's a fantastic step-by-step process. You literally start by tuning in to get yourself ready, you go through the whole interaction, and then you tune out at the end to process it. It's a framework to make sure every single encounter is effective. But, it's not always a smooth ride. There are a ton of barriers that can pop up and get in the way of good communication. We're talking language differences, cultural stuff, even the physical environment. Just knowing that these barriers exist is half the battle. And that idea of barriers, especially cultural ones, leads us perfectly into our next section, understanding culture's impact. Because you really can't see the whole person if you don't see the world they come from. Okay, this is a really helpful way to see how these concepts fit together. It's so important to remember that culture, ethnicity, and race are all related, but they're not the same thing. Culture is really about those learned beliefs and values, the things that shape a person's entire worldview. And in that same vein, it's also crucial to understand the difference between spirituality and religion. They can overlap, for sure, like you see here, but spirituality is more about an individual's personal search for meaning, while religion is more of an organized practice. They're two different and very personal things. So how do you get better at this? Well, check out this cultural competence model. What I really want you to notice is that it's a cycle. It's not a one-and-done thing. You start with awareness of yourself, you gain knowledge, you practice sensitivity, and you build competence. But then, you keep going. It's a lifelong journey, not a destination. Which brings us to this really important question. Do you know where you stand? Because becoming culturally competent, it all starts with looking in the mirror. You have to ask yourself, what are my biases? What are my beliefs? That's where the work begins. All right, so we've gone over all the big ideas for the week. Now, let's get down to brass tacks. Here is your checklist. Let's get this stuff done. First things first, the learning resources. You're going to want to start with the week 1 orientation PowerPoint. After that, go through the presentations for each of those 4 chapters we talked about: lifestyles, communication, culture, and the family. Simple as that. Next up, your assignments, the stuff that's due. You've got 1 weekly discussion post, 2 quizzes, and 3 surveys. And pay special attention to those surveys. They're really designed to get you started on that self-reflection journey we were just talking about. And just so you can plan your week, all of this should take you about 9.5 hours to get through, so, maybe don't save it all for Sunday night. So as we wrap things up, I want to leave you with this quote.
It's such a great reminder that being holistic and culturally competent isn't just about one thing. It's about everything that makes a person who they are. And that really is the question you should carry with you into week 1 and honestly, throughout the entire course. Are you really approaching this holistically? Your journey starts right now, without question. Good luck and have a great week.